Alright, welcome back to Titanium Man Garage, and just for fun, I'm going to throw this transmission back together and see how long it takes. Show you guys what it takes to do to put it in. It's really not that bad. I've got my chain and everything sitting over here. What I like to do is I like to put it together like that with the chain in place. Got both my case surfaces pretty clean. So what I like to do is, so the bearings sit in these holes. Oops. Sit in these holes right here, here, and here. I like to lube them up with a little oil. Everything slides in nice. More oil, the better. That's what I always say. I'll probably do the bearings as well. Okay, so first things first. If you pull it apart, what I do is I crank on this. Shift fork pops up, and then I pull everything out. So right now I got it out. There is a little nub right here. It goes in that groove. So when I'm putting everything back together, I gotta make sure that's all lined up. And also I need my rubber mallet. So first thing, I gotta line up the shift fork here with this jog gear. That's gotta go in that groove. Line up shift fork. That's spring loaded down there so you can pop it in place. And then I can pound these in. These bearings are pretty tight, so I gotta pound them down a little more. There we go. This one's not going in. Normally they slide in pretty good. This case is pretty tight. So if you saw in my previous video, that chain was pretty sloppy. Actually, once the case is on and these bearings are held by the other cover, this is actually pretty tight. Now when I spin it, won't be any chain slop. See that? So that part's done. Now you have your big gear and your little gear. That's going to slide in here. I'll go line up the teeth in here. And line up the teeth down here. Hope you guys can see that. Big gear, the little gear. And once again, I got a bearing below that. So I'm going to have to pound that in. Make sure everything's lined up good. Normally this just slips right in, so this is a first for me. There we go. Oop. It's normally a no-no, but why is that not? Alright, so I had the chain down here binding up a little bit, so I had to pull this back off, put it back in. Now I gotta press it down. There. Now for the tricky part, you got this retaining ring that goes on here. Try to put that back on without losing it. Make sure it's in all the way. I like to give it a little tap with the hammer just to make sure it's in. I think we're good. All right, so I'll clean up my surfaces and I'll put the case side back on. All right, so another important thing is once you get everything in, what I did was I just popped this with the hammer a little bit. Make sure it goes. You want to keep it neutral. So the chain spins now. Make sure everything works before you put it back together. There we go. And of course, it's a little stubborn going back into neutral. Let's give it a little pop. Now I'm back in neutral. There you go. Really took all 10 minutes. Clean up my surface and put this bad boy back together. There's really not a whole lot to see here. I'm just gonna take some black sealer, go around the edges, put the cover on, get it lined up. Grab some Loctite, put it on the bolts, bolt her up. I know that looks like a goopy mess, but I have to use my finger to smooth everything out, make sure the surfaces are covered. And as I was taking this apart, I could tell this was resealed again. It was in a factory seal. So the guy had this apart one other time. So he must have been having issues Probably never caught that the chain was loose. Probably put it back together. That means this transmission was actually taken out once before already. Brush a little oil in here. Now the trick is to try to get those bearings lined up with these holes and that. Kind of gotta wiggle it in. Here you go. She's together. Go ahead, Loctite all these up. And then I'll tighten them down in a crisscross pattern and find out what the torque specs are. I think it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like either 22 or 30 foot-pounds. What I'll do is I'll snug them up with the gun first and then torque them afterwards. Clean my drain plug, get that put back into place. Alright, so who's timing me here? I don't have a watch in here. Let's see. Camera says 13 minutes. But I did pause it a second to pull everything apart, so we'll add 2 minutes on here. Make sure you keep all your bolts together for the transmission. I had this one mixed in there by accident. It doesn't belong in there. Just tighten them up, sling them up in a crisscross pattern. That way it tightens the case down evenly. Not that you're tightening one side down and the other side isn't down, and something might get pinched. Alright. Now I'll go ahead and torque everything down, but yeah, that was a piece of cake, wasn't it? My camera says 15. So I guess we'll go off of that. Alright, just thought I'd shoot this quick little video, show you guys how easy this is. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it. And like always, till next time.